Republicans in the House passed legislation to repeal and replace Obamacare. I Googled American Health Care Act, and virtually every article was an attack on our bill. Article after article alleging that our bill would result in millions and millions of people losing the great care that they were supposedly getting under Obamacare. The Republican tax cut bill was passed about a year ago. Same story. Article after article attacking the Republican tax cut plan, alleging the tax cuts only went to the rich. Now, I know Google's attitude, the algorithm made us do it, but I don't know that I buy that.
While we're at it, I couldn't find one single good article on Bill Cosby. Why the bias, Google? Here we have a congressional hearing with the CEO of Google where Republicans complain that their coverage in passing some of the least popular bills in American history was bad. But Congressman Ted Lieu sums up brilliantly why their argument is really, really embarrassing for the GOP.
I did a search on Google. I searched for Congressman Steve Scalise. He is a Republican. And I hit the news tab, and the first 4 articles that come up are generally pretty positive. The first one is from Town Hall, a generally conservative publication, about his book, Back in the Game. Second article is also about his book, Back in the Game. Third is about him talking about election results. Fourth is from Fox, another positive article about his book, Back in the Game. You don't have a group of people at Google, they're sitting there thinking, hey, we like Steve Scalise, so we're going to generate positive articles on these search results. That's not what's happening, right?
I'm very glad to see Congressman Steve Scalise fully recovered and back, but we don't, deal with individual queries and, with any viewpoint, and so these things are our algorithm.
Nowhere in your programming code does Congressman Steve Scalise even show up, isn't that right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Now I'm going to do a real-time Google search for a very similar term. I'm going to change one word. So I'm going to search for Congressman Steve King. I'm going to hit the news tab. First article that pops up is from ABC News. It says, Steve King's racist immigration talk prompts calls for congressional censure. That's a negative article. But you don't have a group of people at Google sitting there thinking and trying to modify search results. Every time Steve King comes up, a negative article appears. That's not what's happening, right?
We always operate for any query with the same set of principles. We are trying to reflect what is currently, if it is newsworthy, what is currently being discussed about that phrase.
Thank you. So let me just conclude here by stating the obvious. If you want positive search results, do positive things. If you don't want negative search results, don't do negative things. And to some of my colleagues across the aisle, if you're getting bad press articles and bad search results, don't blame Google or Facebook or Twitter. Consider blaming yourself.
I mean, seriously, the 2 major bills presented by Republicans, the Obamacare replacement and the tax cut, were so egregiously bad that one didn't even pass, and the other was kryptonite on the campaign trail and helped oust at least 40 Republican congressmen. Call me crazy, but I don't think the search engine is the problem here. Finally, we have Iowa Congressman Steve King, who inadvertently just made the best case for term limits that I've ever seen. He goes for a gotcha moment in demanding that the Google CEO explain something about his iPhone. They're different companies.
I have a 7-year-old granddaughter who picked up her phone before the election, and she's playing a little game, kind of game a kid would play, and up on there pops a picture of her grandfather. And I'm not going to say into the record what kind of language was used around that picture of her grandfather, but I'd ask you, how does that show up on a 7-year-old's iPhone who's playing a kid's game?
Congressman, iPhone is made by a different company, and so,
It might have been an Android. It was a hand-me-down of some kind.
I'd
ask...
I'm happy to follow up and understand the specifics. There may be an application which was being used, which had a notification, but I'm happy to understand it better and clarify it for you.
Okay. Thank you for your testimony, and yield back the balance of my time.